Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Mom's Cooking Diary, where this week we are going to be smoking a pork tenderloin. Yay, happy Easter everyone, and it is spring and warm enough to go outside. For this we will need some kosher salt, some sugar, some garlic powder, and some black pepper, and then some hot chili flakes. You'll also need a pork tenderloin. The other day when I made the green chili, I used 1/4 of the pork tenderloin. This is 1/2 of the pork tenderloin, only cut lengthwise. So I am going to go ahead and start with 2 cups of hot water to make a brine, and then I am going to add to that 8 tablespoons of sugar. Now I'm using some hot water here to help get the sugar and salt to dissolve into this solution before we add the pork. So here we go, 8 tablespoons of sugar, and that will be followed with 8 tablespoons of kosher salt. Now this might seem like a lot, but this is just a brine. It's just going to have the pork sit in it overnight in the refrigerator and soak, and then we're going to go ahead and take it out and rinse it off tomorrow morning. So here we go, 8 tablespoons of salt. Next then, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic. Optional, you may also add 1 tablespoon of granulated onion. However, people in my household are not a fan of onions, so I skip that. Then also 1 tablespoon of black pepper, and then about 1/3 of a tablespoon of red pepper flakes, but my peppers are almost out, so I'm just going to use what's left in my container here. And I'm going to go ahead and whisk this together really well, try to get that salt and sugar to dissolve. And then I'm going to add 6 more cups of water. This in total will call for 8 cups of water, but I want to get the pork in there before my bowl gets too full here. So we're going to stir all that together, and then go ahead and add my 2 pieces of pork tenderloin, get them to fit in my bowl really nice, and then I'm going to top it off with the last 2 cups of water, just so I can make sure I don't overfill the bowl, and to make sure that the pork is all the way covered. And then I'm going to cover this in some plastic wrap, and then you're going to throw it in the fridge from anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. I'm doing this the night before, and then by the time we are going to be ready to smoke this tomorrow, it should be good and brined. So here we go, into the fridge we go, and the next day we are going to go ahead and pop that on out. Yep, there it is. It's been brining overnight. So go ahead and take off the plastic wrap, and then we are going to rinse it thoroughly and then dry it off with some paper towels. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. Yeah, look at all that spice that it's been sitting in all night long. And then we'll just get rid of that brine, and then we can go ahead and rinse it in the sink, kind of squeegee it off once you're done, and then I'm going to throw it on some paper towels so I can thoroughly dry that. There we go. So how I like to smoke this is I like to have one of my pork a little bit spicier and one a little bit sweeter. That way it can kind of mix and match. So here we go. I'm toweling off this pork, make sure it's nice and dry. Get the last bit of any of that salt or sugar off of there. And then you can see I have 2 large pieces of aluminum foil. I'm going to, like I said, a sweet and a salty. So this one is Texas style barbecue. That will be my sweet that I will put on one of these. And then for the other one, I will use some Montreal steak seasoning, along with paprika and some Jamaican inspired jerk seasoning today. It kind of depends on what I'm feeling like. So then I'm going to cover these in some canola oil. Rub them down really good so that the seasonings stick. Here we go. So rub both of these down, and then kind of get one out of the way here. So I'm trying to kind of have one hand be the non-meat infected hand and the other hand for touching. You can see I'm trying here. It's kind of working. So my right hand is my rubbing down the pork hand, and then I'm using my left hand to kind of touch the non-meaty parts. All right, so we got one nice and rubbed down. So now we will go ahead and do that to the other one also over here. A little bit more oil. And rub that down. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and pat this down with some seasoning. Rub it really liberally, nice and thick and liberally all over every last bit of this pork. We're going to rub that down. There we go. This is what's going to flavor the meat. I'm not going to put any sauces or anything else onto this pork. It's just going to be the rub. Okay, so that one's looking pretty good. Oh, we got a blank spot there. That cannot be. We must cover the whole thing. There we go. So once I'm done rubbing it, I'm going to wrap it up in some foil and go ahead and let that just set anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours in that. So generally what I do is I get the meat prepped and then I start prepping the smoker. Because by the time the charcoal's ready and everything else is done, then this meat has sat at least an hour. All right, so this one, first of all, I'm going to rub it down with some paprika. I did rinse my hands in between so that I'm not like cross-contaminating my flavors. So you can see I'm having kind of a hard time with my paprika here. I had some chunks in there and it wasn't sprinkling out very well. But yeah, you can go ahead and do any other spicy thing with this. I would stick with the paprika and the Montreal steak seasoning, but then any other spicy seasoning you can go ahead and add to this one. My Jamaican jerk, once all was said and done, it really wasn't spicy at all. It was delicious, it just wasn't spicy. So if you did want something spicier, I would look through your spice cabinet and maybe find something else. All right, so I got paprika all over that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and shake some Montreal steak seasoning on here. Get that nice and covered. Kind of once you have one seasoning on here, it doesn't stick quite as amazingly, but you know, just do the best you can. Very generously season this up. There we go. And then here's my Jamaican jerk. So next we are going to go ahead and get the smoker ready. You're going to want it to be about 225 to 240 degrees before we throw the meat on here. So just keep that in mind as I'm finishing rubbing this down, and now I'm going to wrap it up and kind of just let it sit off to the side. Very good. Our meat is ready. All right, so here we go. We're outside my backyard. We're getting the smoker ready. I just have a very simple setup here. There is a water pan in here, so go ahead. We line it with foil just so it's easier to clean, and then fill it with water. So I've got some charcoal waiting over there. I've gotten some charcoal ready here in my chimney, and we're going to go ahead and pour it into this not lit charcoal here. That way we have a whole bunch of charcoal. This hot charcoal will set that other charcoal on fire. Now we did add more charcoal on top of this, but it didn't really catch, so I don't know that I would necessarily do that if I were you all. Also then we are going to stick a piece of our smoking wood on here, and that we have had soaking in the water since before I started messing with the meat. So it's been soaking for a couple hours here. Probably just only needed soaking for about 30 minutes if you forget. But so here we go, there's my smoking wood. And then we are going to go ahead and close this baby up and let it heat up. Like I said, you're looking for it to be about 225 to 240 degrees before you throw your meat on. So that's heated up. I forgot to stick my cooking thermometer in here. So this is pretty cool. You insert this into the thickest part of your meat, and then you set it for what you're wanting it to heat up to. This does have a pork setting, so it'll let me know when the pork is done, and it has a current temperature on there. All right, so this is nice and hot. We're gonna go ahead and throw our meat on here. There's one, here's the other with my cooking probe on there. Trying to think about how long these cooked for. I wanna say they cooked for a good 4 to 5 hours. Now, it did stall out. It was rising pretty nice for a while, so we did have to add more charcoal about a half hour before it was done. Once we did, then it boosted up the rest of the way. So you can see my temperature gauge knocked down when we took off the lid, but see here, it's nice and hot. It's in that smoke zone. It is 145 degrees, which is what you're wanting your pork to be an internal temperature of. Look at how beautiful that is, all nice and smoky. So now we are going to go ahead and bring this on inside. And then, once we're in here, we are going to tent it with some foil for at least 10 minutes to kind of just let the temperature finish setting through there. Let it cool a little bit. You don't want to be touching that when it's 145 degrees. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slice this now with my knife. I'm kind of wanting some nice thin slices. I'm going to be making some sandwiches with this. And let's see, I am going to show you here. You can see that smoking ring all the way around. And we will get this all cut. All right, and here we go. We have these all cut. So now I like to put some of this meat on some Hawaiian sweet rolls. I like to take a little bit of each flavor. I got a sweet, I've got a really thick spicy here, so I'm gonna put one more thin sweet on here just to kind of make a nice little sandwich. Oh, so good. And then as sides with this, I went ahead and made just some boxed scalloped potatoes, because, you know, some pork, some scalloped potatoes always goes fabulous together. And then I have just a very simple bag of salad, just an Asian salad that I thought would go nice with this. Just gonna go ahead and make myself my salad, and we will have a pretty little plate of food here. Oh, and here's my dressing. This just tastes like spring to me. A nice salad, some potatoes, and our smoked tenderloin sandwich. Thank you guys so much for watching this today. I hope you try it out at home. Put some pictures in the comments if you do, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.